All right, everybody, here we are again, back at Parents versus Gaming, episode 5. We're going to kind of dive into relationships and gaming, but before we do that, let me introduce everyone. All the way, which is my left, hopefully it turns out for everyone else, we've got the amazing Alexis Jordan joining us again, and not just as a guest, she is a full-time host now, so welcome, Alexis. How are you?
Good, how are you guys?
Doing amazing. And over to my right, Mr. Jay Noller himself, U.S. Bobber from the U.S. Bobsled team. I know you created an amazing partnership I recently seen, so you can maybe even plug that a little bit later. But how are you, Jay?
Doing great. I'm excited about tonight. Jordan, thank you so much for jumping in and having enough cojones to come join us and kind of rein us in a little bit with I've gotten a chance to see your streams a couple of times, and you're amazing. So thank you so much for bringing your talents here.
Thank you, very sweet. You guys are too nice to me. I don't like it.
I mean, you're gonna make us look bad, or old, if nothing else.
Oh yeah, right. I think my views last time made me look old.
Well, maybe, but you know, I Jay, someone suggested, and we're gonna do this next week. So here's a teaser for next week. We are going to discuss our fun topic of next week is going to be games that came out the year Jordan was born.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, no.
1998.
1998 gaming. So that's something to look forward. That's something to look forward to.
Hang on, James. Let me think back to the year I graduated high school and what game I was playing that year.
I believe 98 was when Metal Gear Solid came out, so that's kind of the era, the genre you're looking at.
One of my brother's favorite games. It's something that I would like. I remember playing when I was little, but I don't remember anything about the game except for I don't want to missay his name and just like everyone yell at me. I want to say Snape for some reason, but I'm nervous now. I don't like it.
Hideo Kojima? Is that what you're trying to say?
Anyways, iconic main man there. I definitely want to play it because it's, again, like I said, my brother's like favorite game.
Yeah,
so.
he's Hideo Kojima. He's all in the news today as well. So,
James, I was gonna say, James, didn't you send me an article on him? And we had a big discussion about it today?
You know, he is. There's a rumor that Xbox is gonna publish his next game, which is a huge slap to the face to all you PlayStation fans. He's basically your number one pony, and Jordan could care less because she's a PC gamer, so she's gonna get it regardless.
No, I grew up on PlayStation.
I mean, yeah, you grew up, and now you're not a PlayStation person. That's great. We're still waiting on Jay to get there, but no. I don't want to bash on it too much. It's still a great console. Congrats on your.
Yeah,
it's still a great console. Competition is good. I would never want to see Sony completely leave. It would be bad. It would 100% be bad for the industry. So let's kind of go around and just kind of check in with everybody, see how your week is. Jordan, tell us about your week and what went on and how things are going for you.
Well, my mom actually came and visited me last week, and she just left on Monday. It's kind of bittersweet. I live across the country from all of my family. Don't look at me. I know it's COVID times. I was going through some things. So
no. Did you and James like plan this? Because wasn't Mama James like in this last week too?
She was. It does feel like we planned it.
Oh wow, that's pretty awesome.
So James, your mom's been meaning to tell you something. You've got a half sister.
Oh my god.
would be definitely very strange. Let's see. Anything else? How did your streams go? Where can people find you?
Sorry, yeah, I'm so awkward. So yeah, no, the rest of the week has been good. I got moved out into the living room instead. I was for my main job, I was in like this dark corner in the middle of my apartment, like no sunlight, nothing, right next to my cat's litter boxes. Actually, it was horrible. So I've been depressed for a while, and then I finally got to move out into the living room. There's like a bunch of sunlight and stuff, which is really nice. My mom helped me clean. And then she went home, which is bittersweet. I miss her. And then Tyler just got a gaming laptop. So I'm super excited to be able to play games with him, soon. And And yeah, you can find me. What is my name on here? It's sad that it's been a while. I haven't streamed in a while, which is crazy. I've taken a break, sad face. But I'm hoping to be back this weekend. But yes, my name is Alexis Jordan 98. You can find me there.
Perfect. And Jay, how has your week been? Anything exciting in the Noller household?
I've got 2 kids, and no, we've reached the part of the year where spring break is over. Nothing's going on until summer, so we're just grinding it out. My son starts football here this next week, and my indoor arena football season coaching starts next week. And yeah, no, just trying to juggle schedules. So working and juggling.
Yeah, awesome.
Perfect. For me, I'm kind of like Jordan. My mom came to visit. Jordan, you missed a little bit. She actually jumped and was the person streaming on my channel on Friday night. She doesn't know anything about Twitch. She's all of 98 pounds, 4'11", maybe 5 foot. She says she's 5 foot, but let's be honest, she's 4'11". She's very tiny. She was playing pinball, actually. That's like her favorite actual game, so I knew she would get into it as a video game. So I put her on Pinball FX, and she's literally like, she almost broke my Elite controller. That's how hard she was like smashing the controller buttons, and she slammed it against the desk by accident a few times. But she started looking over the chat, and she kept saying, why do people keep putting the hydrate button? I go, oh, that means you're supposed to drink. And she's like, well, I don't have any beer. So
I'm gonna have to go rewatch the.
Yeah, so
she
ended up going through 3 beers in about 25 minutes.
Oh my
and
God.
She's 61 years old, so she was throwing them back. Everyone got a kick out of it. She had some good funny stories to. Once she realized she was allowed to curse on stream a little bit, it kind of made it pretty funny too.
Oh, that's so cute. I'm so sad that I missed it.
Jay actually got on the stream just to try to continue to make her drink. It was pretty funny.
Hey, she was a great, participant, because she hydrated every single time. She was a total champ the whole time, because I was throwing it out there as much as possible, and then all of a sudden, like, the chat got involved and saw what I was doing, and then everyone, and oh yeah, blah blah, and then blah 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 blah. It was fantastic. She was a total trooper and a great sport. So we gotta have her on.
Yeah, I'll figure a way to get her to come back. The gaming grandpa, I guess my dad, he'll be here in a month as well. So he'll actually be here the night we're filming the podcast. So we're gonna have him on as a guest on the podcast, and we can talk about how he thinks he was a gamer, but then he hated gaming, and now he likes gaming again. He even does VR now, so it's pretty funny.
Oh wow!
So can we ask him about the hammer and the Xbox story?
Oh, for sure. He'll try to say that didn't happen, of course, like all parents do. But
all parents,
I'll remind him. So let's dive into this. I've been promoting this topic all day. It's a very nervous topic, but I want everyone to know ahead of time. It wasn't me and Jay that suggested this topic.
You're just throwing me under the bus.
Oh, I'm not throwing you under the bus. I'm putting the bus in reverse and forward, and a semi's coming by. So we're going to dive into she calls it the normalization of gaming as an adult while being in a relationship. So I'm gonna actually throw it to Jay first. Jay, when this topic comes up, and we have had people, and we both have mutual friends that this has been an issue or a thing. What does that sentence alone, what does that mean to you?
It takes me a couple of seconds to run through my thesaurus, through my brain, to be able to bring it down from Jordan's level down to just the knuckle dragging level of myself, and translate it in my head of what she's actually going for. But it's how is gaming affecting your relationships? And I would even throw that out as making sure that people are realizing it's not just your significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, your situation is, but it really is. And we just kind of mentioned it, like our parents, like James got his mom involved, and I guarantee you and I'm going out on a limb, she probably didn't know that much about streaming and Twitch until about 6 days ago. and she was able to see it and experience it. So, I just want to make sure that we're kind of talking about just relationships in general and not where my brain first went to, which was like, oh, my wife. That's how we talked when I was in Europe. Was we talked over headsets and that instead of phone calls. So just making sure that when we're talking about this, we're including parents and siblings and kids and everything else with the normalization.
I'm with you. I definitely don't want to throw that out there. I know the main topic will probably go along the lines of my many failed relationships are a great example of they would like to say that gaming is the reason that our relationship failed. I think I'll just keep my opinions to myself, and I'll kick this over to Jordan. Jordan, so what do you think? I know you wanted to talk about this topic, and it's something you mentioned when we even discussed having you here. And instead of waiting, we're jumping right into it. So your thoughts on the subject?
It's something of just like, I feel like lately, it's been especially all over social media, over the past couple of years to kind of normalize it a little bit, which is nice. But I mentioned it, last time I was on that, my mom wasn't super happy with my dad streaming. And I do think it had to do with like, how much, not streaming, sorry, gaming. It had to do with how much he was gaming, which, was a problem. Now he's working on it. But even other relationships, like, even though he had learned, that it was just a hobby, it's not something that takes over your life, your kids, your wife are still important, or your girlfriend. So even with moderation, he still has issues sometimes, where like a past relationship hated it. He was not allowed on the game. And, up until now, him and his girlfriend have finally worked it out, and they have, like a system that works for them. But it was really difficult at first, and it was just sad because, he met all of his best friends, like his very best friends, that he like went to their weddings and stuff since he met them over the game and stuff. And it's just sad because, it's not him just playing a video game, it's him hanging out with his friends. He's not going to a bar or anything like that. And even whenever I was younger, very young, don't judge me, but I remember my first relationship, if they were playing video games like too late, like I'd get upset. It was just like an immaturity kind of like, I don't really know how to describe it. But now, like, I think about it and I'm like, me and Tyler bond over video games, and I've been playing video games since I was little, so I don't really know why I felt that way. But I think that, especially for men, I feel like a lot of women look at it like it's childish. Like, I don't want you to be gaming while you're trying to like, take care of our kids, or, expanding on those other relationships. I don't want it to take over your life, and that's what it's going to do. Instead of like, if someone wanted to go golfing, if that was their hobby, you wouldn't be upset about it,
Yeah.
So
that is.
Hang on, sorry.
Okay.
So sorry. So Jordan, you kind of hit on something there when you were talking about when you were younger, like last Tuesday. So when you said that you were having some relationship issues and stuff, and then when they would play games too late, you'd get really frustrated. So do you think, and we're just jumping right into this, do you think that was because of your relationship with your dad and watching your dad's relationship with games become an issue? And so that was a kind of almost like a red flag in your own relationship? Or do you think that you was it the gaming, or was it what you thought that they could eventually get to with that relationship?
For me, believe me, I have a lot of red flags from my family's relationships that we can go into at another time, but that wasn't really so much. I think it genuinely had to do with like the stigma of video games. Even though I grew up playing them, I like playing video games. It was more of just like I said, I was much younger. I was like 14, 15 at the time. So it was really just like I, didn't have the maturity level. But I do still see women, especially like I said with my dad, who are much older than me, who still had those outlooks on it. And so that's just kind of what worries me. Like I can say I looked past it and I grown from it, and I understand that it was my insecurities being blamed on someone's hobby. Doesn't make any sense. But I feel like it's kind of normalized to be like, oh, he plays video games, trash. Like he's not going to be a good dad, or he's not going to be there for you. And it's like, what? If he had a bowling team, it would be fine. Like, what?
Yes,
I'm so confused.
Okay, now that's something I want to talk about. I as a single dad, I actually am, I try to get out there and date, and that is the first thing, oh, you game? I don't. There's actually someone that I went on a couple of dates with, and yes, I'm on the whole dating app thing, don't judge me, but I actually came across their profile again, and I'm not joking. The literal first line on their profile says, if you play video games, do not swipe me. And I
Oh,
just,
wow.
yeah, it just made me laugh. Now, but I like what you said. Why is it, and this has been my experience, why do you get a lot of people that will say, like, if I went out drinking with a couple of my buddies every night for 2 or 3 hours, okay, I'm not joking. Some of the girls I've dated would not question it at all. I would come home, it would be fine. Oh, you're hanging out with your friends. But if they, even coming home from work and see me for 30 minutes trying to play a video game while they're home, I'm wasting my life. I don't care about them. I'm not interested in them. All I care about is playing games. Like you said, that's like the normalization. Why do you think that is? Why are they so against gaming? It's like it's an immediate red flag if they don't like gaming or they don't care to play video games, but their partner does. It's an immediate red flag to them. But everything else seems okay to be able to do.
Try to rationalize it as like, if your significant other, like to play with like Legos in their spare time. Well, I can't even say that because there are people who like build Legos. I'm trying to think like something that's kid related. If they like to do that all the time, it might be a little like, are they too immature? It might be like that sort of mindset. I don't really know. But then obviously there are games who are made just for adults. But again, I just think it's like the stigma of it. That's why I kind of want to talk about it because I know a lot of mostly women. I mean, it's not always a woman's thing. I mean, some men get upset about it too, especially with girls gaming with other guys, of course. But I think that some women are coming around to it. But I just wanted to talk about it again, like especially with me being a girl, to anyone else who might listen or anything like that. So like, it's just a hobby, especially if they're doing it only for a couple hours a night or, just like you like to watch your TV or whatever hobby you have. I like to play little mini games on my phone. That's not, that's not any different than you guys playing COD or whatever you guys want to do, except for the yelling, maybe. I don't really yell at my phone,
Yeah.
James is a yeller, just so you know. Just we clarify.
Tyler's
James
a
is
yeller.
I never yell when I'm gaming. I'm very calm and collective.
And then complains the entire way as he gets blasted in his face through the group. Like it's bad. It's bad. It's issues. It's intervention time. But
there's no,
and I feel kind of bad on this because, my wife, kind of our story is we were both athletes. We traveled all the time, so we were apart for just months and months at a time. And when we first started dating, I told her, I was like, look, if you want to have those conversations with me and you want to talk, you got to give me something to do. Like I have to color, draw, read something, like, and I can have those in-depth conversations. And she noticed that when she sat on the couch next to me and I was playing video games, Modern Warfare 2, that she could just talk to me and I could just hold a complete normal conversation. Well, that kind of turned into, we got double PlayStations and I took mine on tour with me. And wherever there was a LAN, I connected in and everything. And that was actually how we talked on the phone, was we would actually squad up and then play together. And that's how we talked. Yeah, it's, oh, kitty. And then, oh yeah, we love the dogs. You missed it last week. It was my dog that showed up. So don't be surprised if she makes another appearance. So we really just kind of included that. And that was something that was never an issue. And I think it does come down, Jordan, as you were saying, is he going to be a bad dad? Is he going to handle his business? And my wife and I, Jamie, always talk about that. We say handle your shit or handle your business. And so James is my witness to this. He can tell probably within about a half hour, 45 minutes of when I'm getting on each night. Laundry's done, dishes are done. I've handled all my business as an adult as best as I know how. Kids are asleep. Now I can get on and hang out with my boys. And My wife, she plays, as you mentioned, mobile games. She likes to lay in bed. She watches her trashy drama TV, like Grey's Anatomy and stuff, post up with her little MMO that she's got on her thing. And, and I think that, because we're older and we've had it as part of our relationship and as part of our life, we've been able to kind of figure out kind of where those boundaries are and kind of where those things are. And yeah, there's some nights when James keeps me up entirely too late because he's a single dude and lives by himself. And then all of a sudden
Oh,
I
so
look
that's
up.
really the problem.
Oh
That's
my
really
God,
the
it's all his
problem.
fault. It's all his fault. Totally his fault.
That's not true.
But I'll stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning. And my kids get up at 6:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30 every single morning. Guess what? I've still got to be super dad in the morning. And my wife is like, I know what time you went to bed last night. You need to suck it up. You need to figure it out. Go get a Red Bull down at the store on the way home. You need to handle your business. And I think that, we've been able to establish those healthy boundaries that has kind of helped alleviate both of our concerns, with the gaming and then handling, the adulting responsibilities and paying bills and making rent and all that other stuff. So I feel bad because we don't really have an issue in our house, and because we were able to figure it out pretty quick, and it was actually a part that actually kept us together when we were gone for like 3-4 months at a time.
Well,
I
so
think that's
sorry, Jordan, but I want to jump in here because I don't want us just to keep talking about how it's an issue. I want us to kind of come up with what our opinions is on how someone that does game a lot, maybe they do have that addiction. And I want to put that out there when I say addiction. I don't mean addiction to gaming, addiction to whatever their hobby is, because I do think gaming gets a bad rap, and that if someone has an addiction to, like you said, is in a bowling league or reads a book 7 hours, everyone's like, oh, they're intelligent, so they'll let that go a lot. But it will eventually wear in a relationship where they'll eventually catch up. It just seems like gaming gets them there so much faster than almost anything else. But so I've got someone on Facebook that says, I hate when I'm assuming this is her husband games. I get mad when all the boys game because they ignore me when I ask questions and they are in the zone. So you can't just like in the gaming, but how can she get kind of ahead of it? And what are some things that she could do to help them realize they're doing that? And what do you think is a healthy way to try to find that balance? Because obviously she's listening to us, watching our podcast. Maybe he's not watching. So if it's just her that's getting the advice, what do you guys say? And I'll start with you, Jordan.
Well, that's actually kind of what I was going to go into, is that I think that it is a big deal to have like those bonding moments. And I understand if you don't necessarily like video games and that's not something that you can do, but it's about having those tough conversations. Like I'm very lucky, and Tyler's not very lucky, because for him, like if I say anything, not all the time, but most of the time, the headphone comes off, he's listening to me. It doesn't matter if he dies. Most of the time, he's just very compassionate in that way that he will listen to me. Sometimes I'm like, hang on, like I'm a problem there.
You mean dies in the game, correct?
Yeah, of course.
I don't want people to I don't want people to jump to conclusions here.
No, he'll just take off his headset, like obviously he'll say like I'm in the game or whatever, but even if I'm saying something that's like not super important, he just wants to make sure that he's listening. And it took a lot of conversations to get there. Like I said, like obviously I don't have a problem with him gaming, but sometimes it's just the lack of like paying attention. Like I will say like, oh, do you want to do this? He's like, yeah. And then he doesn't really understand what's going on in the conversation. And then week down the line when that thing comes up and he just has no idea, and I'm like, are you joking? Or like vice versa, if I'm in the middle of a game and stuff. And it's just about having the respect for someone else, which just comes from those awkward conversations. I think that there are other things that you could do, like trying to take an interest in their hobbies. But it really comes down to just like, hey, like, I don't mind that you game, I love that you have fun, whatever. But especially like if you're not doing it too often, but it's literally just once a day, you have like a quick question or something, like I need to know that you hear me and I need to know that you have that understanding. And I don't think that's too much to ask.
And
Jay, let's kick it over to you. Your opinion on this.
Oh, James, you've heard my wife on my microphone before. And Jordan, I think you make a great point. Once again, I think this is a bigger relationship question than it is really normalization of gaming, because it's really, if, Jordan, if you're reading a book and you're really into it and I come up and I start talking to you and you're like, yeah. Like, that's still a communication issue, and that's definitely something that needs to be addressed in the larger context of the relationship, as opposed to just, oh, she's just a bookworm, she just blows me off. I think it's that level of respect. And James has heard me before. Like, we'll be playing in Warzone, and I'll be like, okay guys, hang on, and you could just hear me go on mute, and then I come back like 5 minutes later, okay guys, we're good. And they'll be like, what's going on? I'll be like, oh, we're trying to figure out Jaden's schedule or Jaylee's schedule for practice tomorrow, and making sure that you make yourself available. And I think some people have an issue with prioritization, because you get so locked in, you get so focused, especially with these big games, and where everyone's trying really hard, and I am one of the most competitive people you'll ever meet, and I'm trying to win and do better because James makes fun of me because he's mean, and all of these things
Again,
that go
James
on.
is the problem.
Yeah, once again, I'm just going to keep shoveling it on top of James tonight.
Wow.
But it's understanding that, like, my PlayStation, even though it's an amazing piece of equipment, could break tomorrow. And guess what? My wife is there. Like, she will always be there. She is my priority. My family's my priority. And, I think having that good lines of communication of like, hey, 1A and 1B are coming pretty close. We need to have one and number 2, and just make sure that we're making those things. And Jordan, I think you kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier, is the addiction issues. Like, the addiction is the, doing something to the point where it devastates the rest of your life. And that's really what you can do, especially if you have, those communication issues and you're not being forthright in what the challenge is.
I'm going to take the defensive. I agree with both of you 100%. But a lot of people that are listening to us and they're taking some of this side, they are not people that are really interested in gaming. They don't like it. And I like what you said, Jordan, about kind of showing an interest in what they like to do. So if I were to take the side of gaming and maybe compare it to your husband or wife, they're big into sports. They're watching sports. For the most part, even if you don't like it, it's been so ingrained in your head that you kind of understand the concept. If you look at the clock and there's a minute to go and you look at the score and it's close, most of the time in a relationship, you're not going to be like asking them a dead serious question, or, hey, can you go out into the yard and mow the grass right now, or whatever topic you want to get. Now, from a gaming standpoint, I think if you take interest... Now, first of all, if you're playing any kind of first-player game offline, you can hit the pause button. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You can hit a pause button. But most people play online games. And I think if you take a minute, take a little bit of interest into the games that your significant other is playing. If it's Call of Duty, right? You're playing Warzone, it's a battle royale game, or Fortnite, or whatever you can think of. One look at the screen, you can kind of see where you are. Now, again, this isn't something you need to do every time. I still think life should take a priority, but just once in a while, if you can look at that screen and realize, oh, there's only 11 people left, I'm going to give them a second. It's probably going to be over in less than 5 minutes. And if they're anything like Jay, it'll be over in 30 seconds. But if you do that once in a while, I think they'll see that you're taking an interest and you actually are showing some sort of you're showing respect. So the next time you really, really need something, it's going to be in their head that, well, they don't do this all the time. They know if I'm close to the end of the game, so this must actually be something important. It'll just start naturally happening, and I think they'll show the respect. And also, if you do it multiple times and then they still don't show you the respect, now you're, like Jay said, you're looking at it. It might be more than just the gaming side of things.
Starts with that conversation, because games, if you aren't interested in it, or even if you are interested in it and you're starting a new game, sometimes you are just confused, confused at what you're looking at. What does this mean? So I think it starts with that conversation, like, hey, if you use pet names, like, hey babe, like, I would love to get to know a little bit more about what you do. So then, if you are in like a heated moment, an excited moment or whatever, like, I'm not ruining that for you. But also, if I learn that side, that whenever I do talk to you during like a different time, or if I do come to you during that time, then you know that it's really important, and that I
Yeah,
have your attention.
exactly. And
From that.
like I said, Crash is making fun of me in the chat. He says I sound fully like a single person. Now, again, all I'm saying is that
Looking at it from the other side.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to piggyback off what Jordan says to just show a little bit of interest once in a while. And if you just show that interest, then I think that you're meeting on mutual ground versus it always being because that person, and this goes to anything. It doesn't matter if they're really into sports. They really like playing a board game. They really like reading a book. They really like watching movies. I'm
Yeah,
the worst.
think about it as
I'm
watching their
way
favorite
worse.
movie.
Yeah, I'm way worse in a movie. I found this out the last 4 days while my mom was here visiting because we were trying to watch all the Godzilla King Kong movies, and my mom only wanted to talk when it was an important moment in the movie. And I almost have to watch all 4 again because I don't remember half the stuff that was actually going on. And I kept being like, Mom, just relax. You're on vacation. Relax. Stop. So she'd be like, well, just tell me what's happening. I'm like, I don't know. Why were you watching for the last 5 minutes? I don't know. So.
Oh, no, I pause. I'll look at Tyler, and because, we'll talk about whatever it is that we're watching. I'm like, pause it right now. Like, we need to know what's going on or else I'm not going to listen. So pause it right now. But, think about it as, let's say, going with like stereotypes. Let's say you really like romance movies and he really likes action movies. You both don't necessarily love the other side, but are you going to go see an action movie with him if he wants to? Yes, you are. And if you want to go see a romance movie, then he better get his butt in the car and take you to a romance movie or put it on the TV, or just like watch it with you for an hour. Like what is the harm of taking interest in that?
Well, and I would say that there's a lot of onus on the game player themselves as well. First of all, learn to read the room in the relationship. If your significant other is cleaning the house, stay off the sticks and help. And that kind of comes back to handling your business. But the other part of it is the all the things that we've kind of talked about, movies, board games, things like that, they all have an end. And I think a lot of people kind of get, Warzone kind of has an end, and obviously I play that all the time, so I use that as my example. It has an end, but guess what? You're getting dropped right into another lobby. It would be like, you're watching Endgame, and then bam, like the next Marvel movie comes in, as the credits, the next movie's coming straight into it. And so there's not those natural segmented breaks. So you have to pay attention to what's going on because, as a gamer, you do have a tendency to get so involved and so in depth into it. And, and there's an old adage my father-in-law uses is we'll go out fishing and then there won't be any fish. He's like, oh, we got to stay out here until we catch some fish. And then we catch some fish. He goes, well, we can't go in now. We're catching the fish. And so it's this like cycle of like, oh, I just had 5 kills in Warzone. I'm on a hot streak. I'm going to play one more. Oh, I got smoked in the drop-in.
I can't end it like that. I can't
go out like that. James, we did this last night.
Yeah. And that was not my fault. That was you and Wright wanting to continuously play, and I kept saying, I thought you guys said you were going to bed.
Because you were god-awful last night.
Yeah, I was not good, but I had taken 2 weeks off. I do want to jump into our chat real quick. I don't want to disregard them. They have been awesome. They've been very engaging, and I want to relay a couple of stories. I know, Jordan, you're paying attention to it. Jay does not because he can't multitask. But from Strax, he says, back in 2016, I bought a PS4 and COD to play with my friends. I had been dating this girl for a year or so, and we had just moved in together. I played once or twice a week for about 2 to 3 hours a week. Came home from a work retreat, and she had sold my PS4, both controllers, and TV. She said that I wasn't giving her enough attention. I played when she was at work or watching her weekly TV shows. Jay, I'm going to kick this one to you. Thoughts?
Bro, she did you a huge favor by not wasting your time with her anymore. Because that is a major red flag.
Getting married to that. Oh my God.
Because, we talk about gaming, and James, it always ends up as a bigger picture kind of thing. Like it's a symptom, not the cause.
It's usually a scapegoat, I think, for some relationships.
Absolutely. Like, not only did she blame it on something that, if it really is only a couple hours a week, should not be significant enough to be causing that kind of relationship. She was not mature enough to have a great conversation with you, just like Jordan had mentioned. Two, she didn't respect you, your stuff, your money. I mean, anything like that, and just sold your stuff. Dude, be glad you didn't have a dog with her. She probably would have sold it too if she had to take it for a walk, man. I mean, that is brutal. I would have lost my mind.
Jordan, good luck following. Good luck following. As a girl that games, obviously you probably don't take her view on it, but and I know you're in a very great relationship now, but if you had come home to someone doing that to you, how would you have handled that?
Honestly, I don't want to get like super dark or anything, but that sounds really abusive to me, and I'm glad that, she did that early on and you can just move on. Because I don't like especially like all like the relationship pranks on YouTube and stuff. It's so toxic and gross, and unfortunately, like, I got out of a relationship where like everything was just controlled, and it was just like hammer to my phone, like if I was on it too much, like crazy. And I'm so glad that I'm out of that, but like sometimes when you're in that, you just like, it seems normal somehow, it seems like they always justify their actions. So as horrible and like disgusting, and even though people might think I'm overreacting, I know that I'm not. Like, that is horrible that happened to you. I'm glad that like you were able to just move on from that, because that's like scary.
For sure.
Can you imagine someone overreacting and like trying to ruin your stuff? Like, that's scary. I don't know.
And that's like, when they say, like serial killers, harm pets at a young age and everything, like that sort of stuff, like, it's not going to get better. That's not something that somebody grows out of, overnight. And, hopefully they, can seek, those professional things. Because, smashing someone's phone and then turning around and saying, why did you make me do that? I don't like gaming. Like, you are absolutely right. That is insanely toxic. It's victim. Society is really dealing with that right now as a whole. And not to get on too big of a tangent, but I mean, if anyone's out there and they're having things like this, and maybe this is the forum that kind of sparks that like questioning of your relationship and stuff. If anyone's doing anything and they make you feel terrible in that relationship and then turn around and blame it on you, get out. Get help, talk to your friends. I mean, and if they aren't letting you talk to your friends, like, that's another giant red flag.
No, I do have some, looks like semi-success stories or some fun stories. Real quick from chat, Miss Laddie says, I didn't understand the gaming world until my husband. Even then it was an adjustment, and I got frustrated until I took the time to understand him in the games. Now I'm hooked on games too. And Miss Laddie, hooray! If anyone's in the chat right now, she's an amazing streamer. We recently came across her. So if you want to go see someone that used to, from what I understand, grew up on a farm, she even brings her chicken Ghost to the stream sometimes, which is hilarious.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it's amazing. She's great. Another one, Mrs. Shadow here says, I'm not a gamer at all, but I understand the social side of it for my boyfriend, and hearing him yell is hilarious sometimes. And to my benefit, I have so many friends now that I didn't have before that come from him being a gamer. And then Miss Shadow and Laddie were talking about the social side of things is always something to consider. I do want to throw in, before I forget all the way from Facebook, Natalie and Nikki both jumped in and said that my comments crash about how looking at the side from the gamer, maybe taking a little bit of interest in just kind of looking at what's going on. They never considered it from that point of view, and they definitely liked the feedback, and that's something they never really looked into, and they're at least going to try it. And maybe after they try it for a couple of weeks, you guys, I would love it. I'm sure Jordan and Jay as well. We would love to hear some feedback and see if that changed things for you, and not just for husbands, like Jay mentioned earlier. That is one of the greatest things when it goes to trying to bond with your kids as well. I think can go a long way. So let's move on from that. Now, this is a topic, I don't want to leave it completely. We're going to revisit this, I'm sure, numerous times on this channel. I'm sure we're going to hear some great stories. If you have some stories, you have some questions, if you want to email me, parentsfirstgaming@gmail.com, you can do that. Jordan, Jay, and myself will always try to answer any question we get on next week's show. I would love to hear some stories anyone has, maybe success or bad stories. Like Strax came up, we would love to give our feedback and just involve you in the show. So before we take off, I had a parent reach out to me, and I mentioned to you guys in the notes here and chat, I'm gonna need your help. Crash, Strax, Miss Laddie, if you're still here, all of you guys, John Cena, shout out to everyone, and John Meserve, Natalie, anyone that's going on. If you hear things like in the first episode, Jay, we went on a huge tangent about Grand Theft Auto Online, and about 30 seconds after mentioning Grand Theft Auto, we always referred to it as GTA from that time on. And a lot of parents didn't understand that part. So I'm just kind of curious what you guys think.
It's because we're lazy.
No, so what I want to do is not necessarily the lazy. What I want to do, I guess I worded that wrong. What I want to do is go over some of those short term and just educate everyone. So GTA.
Gotcha.
GTA, whether we're, mostly we're talking about online, but it's Grand Theft Auto. COD, which is COD, would be Call of Duty. So I just want to kind of throw out some of these different terminology to kind of educate people. I thought it would be a fun thing. And if anyone in chat can think of some, I know there's many things that just kind of get shortened. Jordan, do you have a couple off the top of your head?
Oh God, I did before, and now you put the pressure on me. I think it all depends on the game that you're playing, but I also think that we could do better and use less jargon. Like at work, like whenever I'm talking to customers, I can't just say, "Oh, did you see that in Pinnacle?" They have no idea what that means, So we should do a little bit better with that. But circle back around me. I might have a couple.
Jay?
Nothing really sticks out on top of my head because those really kind of seem to be the big ones. BF, COD, and then and it's starting to get to the point now where you're starting to have these like worlds kind of being built. Call of Duty. Well, do you mean Warzone, or do you mean?
And that's the other thing. It doesn't have to be shortened.
Mean...
We can talk about that as well. Where a lot of people don't, a lot of parents might not know that Warzone is Call of Duty Online for all intents and purposes. PvG, right. For those who don't know, that's PlayerUnknown's Battleground, which is another battle royale. You'll hear things like Crash says SSB, Super Smash Brothers. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say SSB. AC, I've heard that. Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Or they'll
DVD,
just like Crash says, they'll just call it by Dead by Daylight, DBD. Crash says you'll hear a lot of titles, so you'll hear Valhalla or things like that, which is an Assassin's Creed game, and a lot of parents, they just don't understand that.
I think really a lot of the shorthand comes out.
Oh, sorry. You go.
No, I think a lot of the shorthand also comes from a lot of the online communities, where the people are posting about different things like God of War, big G, little O, big W. Like, I mean, there's a lot of acronyms that kind of get thrown out onto it because once again, people are lazy and they don't want to type. So, it's a lot easier just to type out Warzone than it is Call of Duty. What is it? Call of Duty Warzone or Call of Duty Cold War. You just kind of take those shortcuts, and then it makes it into Lexington, and it just makes it hard.
Yeah.
Just kind of being able to decipher it. But once you get in, it kind of feels like you're in the cool guy group, right? Like the cool VIP group, like you know what's going on.
Yeah, I see some other ones in the chat here. WoW, which is World of Warcraft. A lot of people know that's a whole nother. Crash says sports games like NHL, Madden, or FIFA. No one ever says which year. It's generally accepted. It'll be the most recent. That is correct. So if you hear kids say NHL, Madden, or FIFA, Miss Laddie makes a great point for those with kids. Roblox has many games within it, so that is a whole complete different topic. Like some kids talk about Royale High, and that is just a part of Roblox, and I'm sure, Jay, that's something you deal with. I know that your kids play Roblox. Every day you hear a new game title, and it's not a new game they're trying to buy. It's just something within a game. It's a game within a game.
Right, like Apex came out with a bunch of stuff. But that's what I was going to mention is I think it would be cool. Maybe we can discuss this further, off the podcast and off the stream. But maybe we could either do like a, a section of different kinds of games, like the genre of games, and then maybe think of ideas of the abbreviations for that, whatever we're talking about that topic. Or we can even do deep dives into like Warzone, COD, Minecraft, stuff like that to introduce parents to that game in particular, and whether we rate it as might be okay for kids or maybe not. Things like that. I know we aren't professionals, obviously, but like our take on it kind of deal. That might be interesting, and then we can, like I said, go into the abbreviations of each game and kind of break it down that way.
Yeah, it's true.
That's a great idea, and I think that we can also do stuff maybe even higher end. If we're looking at it as an education thing of like MMO, first person, all of those different type of terminologies that just in our conversation now, kind of thinking back tonight, we've referred to all kinds of random stuff by an acronym or a shorthand or kind of an umbrella term.
Yeah. And no, I think that's something. It sounds like Jordan has volunteered now to lead us in that project. So,
hooray! Thank you, Jordan.
Get out of here.
No, I do have a funny one from Facebook. Natalie says, Nolan, my son called me a noob, and I thought he called me something else. I learned the hard way that wasn't a bad thing. She says, LOL. Jonathan Observes says, noob is often used in the pejorative. I don't know if I would say it's a great thing either, Natalie, but it just
I think it's better than what Natalie was thinking, though.
Yeah.
Like,
knowing her probably was much better than what she was thinking. It basically just means a rookie or someone like Jay.
Accurate, I guess. I haven't been around that much, but
Crash said, well, noob
Brutal.
isn't necessarily a good thing either. So before we sign off, real quick, we're going to kick it over to you, Jay. We go through our story time, a story about your childhood or a fun story about your kids gaming, since you're the only ones that have kids old enough to hold a controller. What do you got for us this week?
Oh, man. It's not necessarily a funny story. It's kind of what I've been going with for the past couple weeks, but really kind of using games to kind of bring people together. So as I mentioned earlier, my wife plays this like turn-based kind of guild building game, and she's the grandmaster, so she's pretty high up. But my son wanted to kind of check it out and play it and stuff, and so he actually downloaded it, and now my wife and my son are actually in the same guild in this group. And she's like sending him resources and like helping him out, and he's growing and building out his city and his archers and the trebuchets and other stuff. Yeah, and so now it's like a big topic of conversation where I'm like, no, wait, what are you guys talking about? They're like, oh, Dad, it's about my guild, and I'm like, oh, okay, buddy, sorry, I didn't know. I'll go make dinner.
Jordan, what about you? What do you got for us this week?
God. Oh, well, I don't know if I told you this. I know I've told it on my stream. So, again, when I was younger, probably like middle school age, my brother was trying to teach me one of the CODs, because that's all that my dad plays and like all that they wanted to play. And my brothers always wanted me to be, a tomboy, which I kind of was, but like video games for sure, they wanted me to play. They would always beat me in Mortal Kombat and stuff. And so he took me. Oh my God, that sounds like such a noob. It was like this, like, almost looks like a steampunk, like, kind of map. And he was just trying to teach me, like, the basics, like, trying to get me to shoot anything. About 5 minutes later, he just completely gave up. He's like, there's no way. Like, you're not going to get anything. I was literally, like, so frustrated. Like, I was going to cry. I was like, like, I'm very overdramatic. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, it was so embarrassing. Like, his friends were there, and they were laughing at me. Oh my God. It also reminds me, really quick, another time, I was trying to drive in GTA. I hate the driving mechanics. One of my friends, this was when I was in high school, they're like, don't you know how to drive in real life? Why can't you drive in this game? And I was like, bitch. Oh, sorry. I don't know. I was like, if you don't get out right now. Yeah, those are my stories.
Well,
Yeah, Jordan,
Everyone's been
just so you
horrible.
know, if we weren't allowed to swear, there's no way I would have agreed to do this podcast.
Oh.
Because
yeah, I only have
fight-
to edit out 5 or 6 a week from Jay, so it's fine for the Apple
I
podcast.
have to fight myself the entire time to be like, okay, don't sound like a sailor. Like it just constantly it's just a fight. I was a military kid, been an athlete my whole life. I coach now. It just let it fly. Just let it go.
So, real quick, I got a great story for everyone. My brother actually grew up playing ice hockey. I played soccer. So, we're about a 5-year difference. So, at this point, I'm probably, I would say maybe 11 or 12. And we're playing, Jordan, you probably don't know this game, but Jay, you might, Chippendale's Rescue Rangers. Yes. Okay, so now, Jordan, this was a platforming game, classic Disney platforming game that felt like you could never beat it. But you could play co-op, couch co-op. One was Chip, one was Dale. Now, you could also grief each other the entire game. You could throw blocks and knock them unconscious so they like would get stuck and they would get killed by the enemies, or you could jump on their head, or you could steal the block that they were holding, and it was awful mechanics for playing with his brothers. So one day we're playing and I'm just griefing him because I'm older and I'm better at the game, and so he gets so mad he decides he runs out, like he's just like crying and super upset, and he leaves my room. So then I go out to be like, stop, like calm down, because you don't want to get in trouble as the older sibling. So he comes out of his room. He's not crying. He's angry. Comes out of his room with an aluminum hockey stick and cracks me over the head with it. Knocks me unconscious.
God.
It was the last time I ever griefed him in a video game, I will tell you that. Even today, I'm like trying to like, when he wants to play Call of Duty, I'm very much like trying to help him so much that it's annoying to him.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
But I kind of came to a huge, knot on the head, and he's like almost in tears, thinking he killed me. And yeah, it's a good story it's a funny story from our childhood, that's for sure.
That's amazing.
So I want to go around the room and just say goodbye to everyone. Jay, where can people find you if they want to look you up a little bit? Do you have any social media handles you want to throw out there?
At US Bobber on Instagram and Facebook. So if you want to know all about my dealings in the sports world and everything like that, you can follow me on either one of those, and then of course catch us each week Thursdays on this podcast.
And I know you had a big partnership recently. Do you want to plug that real quick?
Yeah, so I run a digital marketing company. We specialize in athletic events, licensing, marketing, and we actually just became the sole merchandise licensing agent for USA Bobsled and Skeleton. So big feather in our cap for my company. So we're doing well. So excited.
It's amazing. Congratulations.
That's
thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I read that and I was like, okay, all right. Well done, sir. I had no worries.
I try to stay busy during the day.
It's pretty amazing. No, it's pretty amazing. And Jordan, where can people find you at?
Alexis Jordan 98. I looked it up. Yeah, at me. Twitter. My biggest platform right now is TikTok. I'm still pretty small there too. But yeah, and then streaming. I'm still trying to figure out my new stream schedule. I think I'm gonna switch it to Fridays again. We'll see. I'm sorry, I'm kind of a mess right now, but we have fun there. Everyone makes fun of me. You can take some shots. If you want someone to bully, I'm here.
And you can find me as well at The Gaming Dad, whether it's TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all the same platform. And if you guys have any questions about the show or have things you want answered in future episodes, please reach out to me, parentsversusgaming@gmail.com. I thank everyone so much. The chat was super active tonight. I'm super excited that you guys are all here. Thank you so much for anyone that joined on Facebook. And maybe we'll try to play a little bit later tonight, and I'll try not to be such a noob in Warzone. But thank you guys so much for coming out. Don't forget, if you missed this or you want to listen in or you just caught on right now, you can find this by the next day. It'll be on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify. Everything will be there, and also on YouTube under The Gaming Dad. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming out, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.